This is a brief calendar guide for users at wheatleypark.org, although other people might find it useful. Some other things are specific to Wheatley Park users. So I'm just logged on as a test student here. I'm signed into Chrome, which you should be. I click on the little icon here. That allows you to get to your services. I'm going to go straight to calendar. Okay, so this user doesn't have anything much on their calendar at the moment. I have configured one thing up for this user, which I find personally useful. If you go into settings, then you go into labs, there's a lab that I turn on called hide morning and night, and this hides part of your calendar that perhaps you rarely, if ever, have any items on, and therefore allows you to focus on the part of the day which is important to you. I've turned this one on for this user. What you can do with that is, you see, I'm focusing on 8 AM in the morning till 7 at night, and you get these little drag things here, so I can move that up there. So I'll start at 7 actually, and it immediately gets rid of that beginning and end of the day that you might not have any appointments for. But if you do, you can just expand it by clicking on it there, or hide it, and that's a nice little bit of added functionality. So what can you do? So if you're a member of staff, you will have your calendar, which in this case is called test student. You will also have student calendars, which are teaching groups, so you can create events and maybe schedule homeworks or assignments on class calendars which are immediately shared with students. To create an event, it's as simple as clicking wherever you want to do it, there, giving it a name. Could be a meeting, could be a piece of homework, could be anything that you want. If that's all you do, then that's just going to be visible to you, and by default it will put it into your personal calendar, which is private to you unless you deliberately share it with somebody. If you have more than one calendar, you'll have an option to choose which calendar you put it onto. If you put it onto a class calendar, it will be shared with every member of that class, so that might be what you do with the homework event. If you want to do a little bit more, click on edit event, and then you'll have a number of options. So you can specify a location, you can choose which calendar it belongs to, you can give it a description, you can add attachments, and by attachments it means anything in your drive. You've got to bear in mind that that document needs to be shared with whoever's going to be invited to this meeting, if anybody is going to be invited to it. You can add guests, so I'll add myself, and just email this does the browsing, so you can share it with a group or you can share it with individuals. Then you can have a couple of options here. Guests can invite others, see the guest list, modify the event. So you might want this user to be able to modify the event and tweak it, in which case they can do the bottom two. You might not want them to be able to modify the event, but you might want them to be able to invite other people. You might not want them to be able to see who else is going. So you've got some options there. You can change the colour. You've got reminders as well, and reminders by default will be a pop-up. So if you've got your calendar open or you've signed in to Chrome, you'll get a pop-up reminder of an event at a predetermined amount of time, so a number of minutes, hours, days, or even weeks beforehand. You can get it to send you an email notification. If you go into settings, you can add a mobile phone number, and you can get SMS text notifications as well, which is something that you might want to get students to set up, so they can get notifications by text about homework assignments. It takes a few minutes to set up, and you need obviously a mobile phone and a number, and you need to verify your mobile phone number, but it's very easy to do. Once done, click on save, and it will ask you, do you want to send an email invite to these people? If you don't send an email invite to them, they won't know it's happening. So I would click on send, and you'll have an item here. I can drag this around. We've actually set one in the past. Let's put it there. And if you modify an event, you've got an option to then send everybody who's invited to that meeting an update. It's going to be on this time. They can reply whether they want to go or not, or they might be going. Now, because it's now in the future, it's sort of bright green. It shades everything a paler colour if it's in the past. So that's basic calendar functionality. You can of course select bigger events just by dragging it like that, and we'll close. One of the features that I find really useful, which goes along with calendars, is tasks. Tasks by default won't be shown, but it will appear over here. So you can click on tasks, and then you'll have a task list here, and you can create tasks. This is a personal task list organizer. So if I go into the following week, you can change the view, by the way. You don't have to have it by week, you can have it by month or whatever. You've got the options up here. If you look at this little bar at the top, this is the whole day. So you can schedule something for a whole day by clicking on here. But if you right click, so if you click an event up here, you have an option of an event or a task. So if I create a task, I'll have an event to get up in the morning. By the way, you can change the colour of any calendar by default by clicking on there. I'm going to have my tasks as being a dark green. Over here, I'm going to create a task to mark some work for year 12. You can add notes, links, whatever you want to a task to give it a bit more detail, and so on. Once you've done a task, you have the satisfaction of clicking on the tick box, and it'll have a score through indicating that the task has been done. If I just move the bottom of the screen up a little bit, you've got some further task actions down here, and you can do all sorts of things. But you can view your completed tasks, you can hide completed tasks, and so on. And you can create additional tasks, or you can delete tasks. So calendars allow you to organise yourself, because you can do all your task lists on here, and you can cross them off when they're done. You can view those on any device, mobile phone or Chromebook or PC or whatever you might be logged on to, and you can create events and share them with other people very easily, and they can contribute to those events. So I would encourage you to use the calendar functionality to be organised. On one final note, if you want to add the staff calendar and you haven't already done so, I'm just going to go to a different user here. This is me as a staff member, and this is the staff homepage. On the staff homepage, you've got the calendar here. Ensure that you're signed into Chrome again before you look at this, or there's always the sign in option at the bottom, and you will get the staff calendar. And to add the staff calendar to your calendar, there's two calendars actually here. There's the website calendar and there's a staff calendar. You only need to add the staff calendar because that's got everything the website calendar's got on it, plus other things. So you just click on the plus button there, and it will take you to your calendar, and it will ask you, do you want to add this calendar? And you click on yes, and everything that's on here will appear on your calendar. You might want to hide the staff calendar from time to time, and you can hide a calendar simply by clicking on it, and I can hide my tasks in this way, or show my tasks. So that's just a brief 10-minute so guide to using your calendar. There's a lot more things you can do in terms of sharing and collaborating via calendars, but those are the basics. Thank you for watching.